Check out carmarshal.com. The link is in the description. They help support us.
Now, when it comes to the feds, we know that they'll do almost anything to catch a person of interest, even if they have to do that unconstitutionally. And in the past, we've told you about the FBI placing GPS trackers onto suspects' vehicles without a warrant. That's an issue that's making its way up through the courts as we speak. But what about tracking you using your cell phone? Now, we've spoken with security and privacy researcher Christopher Segoyan about how companies like True Position have created technology designed to track individuals based on their cell phone locations.
So what they do is they draw a virtual fence around a house, a nuclear facility, a military base, any place of interest. And True Position software can allow the phone company to spot new devices whenever they enter that virtual perimeter.
So True Position is a company that sells these tracking devices to other countries. But now it looks like similar types of technology are being used right here at home. Details are emerging about a tracking system used by the feds called Stingray. Now, it's similar to what Segoyan described, but this device acts as if it were a cell phone tower, and it intercepts your phone's signals using pings. So the Stingray determines the strength of your cell phone signal through sonar technology. So your cell phone constantly sends out a signal, and based on how long it takes for the receptor, in this case the Stingray, to receive that signal, then your cell phone can easily be found, or the location of it. And the worst part here is that even if you're not using your phone to actually make a phone call, the feds can still find out exactly where you are. Now, the Stingray device is made by a Florida-based company called Harris. And up until recently, the Fed's use of devices like these have been kept very hush-hush. The Wall Street Journal reported that during a federal case against an alleged hacker, Daniel Rigmaiden, the accused was curious as to how exactly law enforcement tracked him down. And so in court, the prosecution sought to keep that information off the record. An official from the FBI explained that it's, quote, considered law enforcement sensitive, since its public release could harm law enforcement efforts by compromising future use of the equipment. So the feds don't want to reveal how they operate. Surprise, surprise. So now that we know how this works, is this practice of tracking individuals without a warrant even legal? Now, the feds obviously don't feel the need to use a warrant with this Stingray technology, but in the past, law enforcement has said that this isn't considered wiretapping because it's not actually intercepting any sort of communication had on the cell phone, just your location data. Now, the feds used to have to get your cell phone location after obtaining a warrant and then contacting your cell phone company, but with this technology, they can bypass the warrants and the cell phone providers and just get all the information on their own. So frankly, it doesn't really sit very well with me. After all, if the GPS trackers that feds put on their vehicles are going to have their day in court, and this technology tracks your movements in a similar way, why would the use of Stingrays be any different?
NYPD quietly using military tracking device locating suspects through cell phone signals. The NYPD is one of many police departments across the country quietly using a highly secretive military-grade technology that can track the whereabouts of suspects by using their cell phone signals. Civil liberties and privacy groups are increasingly raising objections to the suitcase-sized devices known as Stingrays or cell site simulators that can sweep up cell phone data from an entire neighborhood by mimicking cell towers. Police can determine the location of a phone without the user even making a call or sending a text message. Some versions of the technology can even intercept texts and calls, or pull information stored on the phones. Part of the problem, privacy experts say, is the devices can also collect data from anyone within a small radius of the person being tracked. And law enforcement goes to great lengths to conceal usage, in some cases, offering plea deals rather than divulging details on the Stingray. We can't even tell how frequently they're being used, said attorney Jerome Greco, of the Legal Aid Society, which recently succeeded in blocking evidence collected with the device in a New York City murder case. It makes it very difficult. At least 72 state and local law enforcement departments in 24 states plus 13 federal agencies use the devices, but further details are hard to come by because the departments that use them must take the unusual step of signing non-disclosure agreements overseen by the FBI. An FBI spokeswoman said the agreements, which often involve the Harris Corporation, a defense contractor that makes the devices, are intended to prevent the release of sensitive law enforcement information to the general public. But the agreements don't prevent an officer from telling prosecutors the technology was used in a case. Here in New York, use of the technology was virtually unknown to the public until last year when the New York Civil Liberties Union forced the disclosure of records showing the NYPD used the devices more than 1,000 times since 2008. That included cases in which the technology has helped catch suspects in kidnappings, rapes, robberies, assaults, and murders. It has even helped find missing people. But privacy experts say such gains come at too high a cost. "We have a Fourth Amendment to the Constitution," said Jennifer Lynch, an attorney with the Electronic Frontier Foundation, referring to the protection against unreasonable search and seizure. "Our founding fathers decided when they wrote the Bill of Rights there had to be limits placed on government. Lawmakers in several states have introduced proposals ranging from warrant requirements to an outright ban on the technology. About a dozen states already have laws requiring warrants. Federal law enforcement said last year that it would be routinely required to get a search warrant before using the technology, a first effort to create a uniform legal standard for federal authorities. And case law is slowly building. 2 months ago, a Washington, D.C., appeals court overturned a conviction on a sex assault after judges ruled a violation of the Fourth Amendment because of evidence improperly collected from the simulator without a proper warrant. In the New York murder case argued by the Legal Aid Society, a judge in Brooklyn last month ruled that the NYPD must have an eavesdropping warrant signed by a judge to use the device, a much higher bar than the reasonable suspicion standard that had previously been required. By its very nature, then, the use of a cell site simulator intrudes upon an individual's reasonable expectation of privacy, acting as an instrument of eavesdropping, and requires a separate warrant supported by probable cause, wrote State Supreme Court Judge Martin Murphy. New York City police officials disagreed with the ruling and disputed that a stingray was even used in the case, even though there had been a court order to do so. Police officials also said they have since started requiring a higher standard of probable cause when applying for the devices. Legal Aid Society's Greco said he hoped the ruling will push the nation's largest department into meeting the higher standard, and help judges better understand the intricacies of more cutting-edge surveillance. "We're hoping we can use this decision among other decisions being made across the country to show that this logic is right," Greco said. "Part of an issue we're facing with technology, the judges don't understand it. It makes it easier if another judge has sat down and really thought about it."
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County Cop Watch, and I wanted to explain what fair use is. You can use pieces of your news articles if you're doing it for news reporting, you have commentary, and you're doing it for education purposes. So that's what fair use is, as you can see right here. Another reason why I wanted to make this video is to let you know I have just joined with Patreon. A nice thing with Patreon, I make no money on YouTube. They took the money away years ago, and so this is another way to give, and it's a nice thing too because you can give monthly. You can give $1, $5, $10, whatever. I do 4 to 5 hours a day on trying to wake the sheep up on how corrupt it is and different ways that you can fight the corruption. So Patreon is a way that you can do it, and then of course the old way is still there. Donate to Charlotte County Cop Watch with PayPal or credit card. So keep that in mind. 4 to 5 hours a day. I make no money, but the corruption happened to me and I'm sick of it, so I'm trying to wake people up. But my wife would love it if if we could get some help out there. There's 47,000 subscribers. Just think if each one of you subscribers just gave let's say actually yes, $1 a month. 47,000 subscribers gave $1 a month. That would be awesome. That's not going to happen. But anyways, that would be great if it did happen. But do the math in your head. Just think about it. Like I said, 4 to 5 hours a day. I get no money from YouTube. YouTube has gone nuts. You can't do anything anymore. They're taking the money away everywhere. So these are a couple different ways that you can still help out with all this time that I put in. And as you know, I'm in a special situation where, at least I can do it. 4 to 5 hours a day. We have a cleaning company during the day. That's what allows me to do this, and we're debt free. So this is my hobby, I don't go fishing and all that other crap. I try to save the world. So help me out to make the wife happy, man. In fact, if you guys did give $1 a day, and there was 47,000 of you, and you did it, and each of you gave $1, and that was every month, oh my God, yes, I could quit. I could start suing them. Another idea too that we have is, you know, if I got, you know, some funds, we could actually contact everyone that has been ticketed and or arrested and put in jail and start sending them postcards to let them know we're here, and to see if everything went all right, and if it didn't, find out their story. So we could even do more investigations and more lawsuits. Lawsuits take money. So just think about that. You know, 47,000 of you so far right now. You know, $1 a day. I mean, $1 a month on Patreon, or $5 a month Patreon, 10, 20, whatever. Just do the math in your head. Help out. This is a lot of work every single day. Thanks.